So the Raiders are finally in the win column. 1-3, huge win against a divisional rival in the Denver Broncos. Got another big divisional game next week against the Kansas City Chiefs, followed by a bye. 2-3, headed into a bye week, get a little bit more healthy, keep building that chemistry. That sounds like a pretty good plan to me. But in today's video, we're going to go ahead and break down a few things that I really liked, some things I didn't like in their win against the Broncos. Before we get into it, if you guys enjoy it, hit the like button, hit that sub button for daily Raiders content. My name is Jackson. Let's try and hit 150 likes for the Raiders' first victory of the season. Plenty of more will be following. I gotta say, the run game was awesome. Now, yeah, at times the run block wasn't perfect, but really at the end of the day, the Las Vegas Raiders ran the ball at a very, very efficient level. Josh Jacobs, 28 carries, 144 yards. That's 5 yards per rush. 2 touchdowns. He had a long of 43, but it wasn't just Josh Jacobs, actually. First off, Zamir White did have a nice 22-yard run there right in crunch time to pretty much help seal the win. But Derek Carr, season high 40 rushing yards on 7 attempts. I can't tell you how many plays, how many drives he extended with his legs. I saw a bunch of comments on Twitter talking about how it looks like 2016 Derek Carr. If Derek Carr can use this game to his advantage and learn from it and think, okay, I picked up a bunch of first downs with my feet. That adds a whole nother element to when defenses try and scheme against you, and even just in real live game time. But what rushing the ball, so real quick background. The Raiders, heading into this week, through 3 weeks, they ranked last in yards in rush attempts. They ranked last in rushing attempts in the NFL. You have Josh Jacobs, one of the most talented running backs in the entire NFL, and you are last in carries. I would understand it if maybe, just maybe, they were down 21-0 after every first quarter through the first 3 games, but that was not the case. So you were last in rushes when Josh Jacobs, not single-handedly last season because there are a lot of other factors, Josh Jacobs was a huge reason why the Raiders were able to win out in the regular season last year and get into the playoffs. Jacobs was a huge part of that. So I don't know why it took Josh McDaniels so long to be like, hey, yeah, we are ranked last in rush attempts, so maybe we should give the ball to one of the best running backs in the league. Well, he finally figured that out, but one of the most important things, 2 most important things that it does is it opens up your entire playbook. It adds in a whole nother dimension in play action, right? But more importantly, it keeps the opposing offense off of the field. Russell Wilson did not have a crazy day. He had a solid day, 17 of 25, but he only had 237 passing yards. All right? And by the way, the Denver Broncos could not get a single thing in the run game. Devonte Williams, 10 carries for 28 yards. Mike Boone, 3 carries for 20 yards. Russell Wilson, your quarterback, led your team in rushing yards with 29. So it keeps the offense without the ball in their hands, and it just makes it's all the small things, right? We all know this. When you're playing football, it's all the small things. All these small things add up, and just getting that opposing offense a little off chemistry, a little off balanced, it could be the difference maker, right? So I don't anticipate Josh Jacobs to be getting 28 carries from here on out every game for the rest of the season. However, I will say, I would imagine, especially once the running backs get fully healthy, et cetera, you're going to see more Zamir White. You're going to see more Brandon Bolden. You're going to see all of the running backs, Derek Carr included. There won't be, it's not like he's, why can't I think of it's not like he's Lamar Jackson where they're going to have, schemed runs for him. But you get my point. He can extend drives with his legs, and he needs to keep doing that. You might look at Derek Carr's stats from last night and be like, 21 to 34, 188 yards. Why is he still on the team? Why hasn't he been benched yet? Why hasn't he been traded? No, trust me. You needed Derek Carr. Derek Carr, he really stepped up when he had to. He made some nice passes. He made some nice passes all game. He made some nice passes when he had to. and he extended the drives with his legs. Speaking about the pass game, what is awesome is Devonte Adams was targeted 13 times. We were talking about this all week. How does your number one receiver, the number one receiver in the entire league, how does he have 50 receiving yards combined in the last 2 weeks? It's unacceptable. I can't think of a single reason why that would be an excuse in any facet. So I'm glad to see him get 13 targets, 9 receptions, 101 yards. We all know this. College teammates, this was a big deal. Apparently they had been planning on this for quite some time now, or trying to make it happen for quite some time now. Man, something is going on upstairs. Upstairs neighbors are making some loud-ass noises. Anyways, I don't think you'll be able to pick up on that on the mic. It's neither here nor there. Moving on from Devonte Adams, his connection with Derek Carr it looks just fine. It looks perfectly fine. Matt Collins also had himself a day. I know if you look at the stat sheet, 3 receptions for 33 yards. That's only 3 receptions, 33 yards. But all 3 of his receptions, all 3 of his catches they were just important. And I love Matt Collins because even if it's not showing up on the receiving stat sheet, he's making the blocks. He's making the plays. He's in the right place at the right time. He's making the right moves. He's just a high IQ football player for his age, and I think he's really cementing himself right now as pretty much wide receiver 2. Because Hunter Renfrow, slot guy, can't wait for Hunter to come back as well. Moving forward, some things I didn't really like. Well, I liked how many sacks they got. First off, Amik Robertson, Daron Harmon forced the fumble. Amik ran it back. That's the first Raiders defensive touchdown in 3 years, which is kind of sounds honestly like a kind of depressing stat. But the good news is that is, I guess, the new counter starts. It was no longer 3 years ago. I just find that kind of doggy, kind of, touchdowns on the defensive end are tough, but 3 years, that's kind of crazy. So shout out to Meek, shout out Daron Harmon, and also shout out to the most underrated cornerback in the entire NFL in Nate Hobbs, but I need more rushes. All right, Nate Hobbs was able to record a sack. Max Crosby got 2. He was all over the field. Chandler Jones is doing okay. I mean, he's doing okay. He has 6 quarterback pressures on the season. Unfortunately, though, he has no sacks. He doesn't have a quarterback takedown. Now, we know that sacks don't tell the true story. Like, Chandler Jones is still making plays. It's just not showing up on the sack sheet, the stat sheet, sack sheet. So, maybe the Raiders make a move to try and get a 3rd pass rusher. I'm not quite sure what they're going to decide to do. I just want the quarterback to get hit more, or the opposing quarterback to get hit more. So let me know what you guys are thinking about last night's game or yesterday afternoon's game. Let's try and get 150 likes on today's video. Like I said, all my links are down below. But tell me the one thing you liked the most in yesterday's victory against the Denver Broncos. That's it for me. Peace.